What's going on, people? Hello and welcome to the panel, the Q&A show where you ask the question. Today's episode is entitled The Things I Wish I Knew Before I Went to University. And today on our panel, we have Amaka Uche, who's a talent manager. We also have Blumsom, who's a radio presenter and producer. And we have Subira Cameron, who's a marketing and PR professional.
Hi everyone, so my name is Amaka. So I'm a talent manager for a global financial payments firm. On the side, I have my own podcast called My Dream, My Reality, and I just do lots of things to help young people get into the careers that they really want to do.
So yeah, I am a radio producer and presenter. I've worked mostly out in New Zealand, producing some of the biggest shows in the country out there. I've moved back here, started to get into presenting a bit more, and now, yeah, I'm just sort of freelance, getting out doing as many bits as I can.
I manage my own business for the last 4 years. It's a business network where it supports London-based individuals, so influencers, brands and businesses. I also create projects for local authorities for youth offending based around youth behavioural stuff and making sure they stay out of crime.
Epic stuff. So there you have it. That's our panel. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So guys, as you all know, the episode is entitled Things I Wish I Knew Before I Went to University. So what are the things that you wish that you knew before you went to university? So I'm going to start with Subira for this one.
Oh. Things I knew before I went to university. For me, I kind of rounded out to like 3 things. For me, number 3 is financial management. I wish before I went to uni, someone taught me about budgets, loans, debt repayment. Will my degree enable me to pay back the loan that has costed me to do it?
Absolutely.
Also with financial management, making more money while I was at uni, because that loan weren't cutting it and them grants weren't cutting it. And so it was all about it's about making sure you had like a part-time local job if you want to do it the traditional way. Or one of the things that I did was I managed events, so I used to create events in uni, and you can do that in multiple ways. You can link up with your ACS or your student union, or you can just create a business that for your uni. Like for me, a load of people created different kind of things. So they had like t-shirt companies that would, have the phrase that everyone was using, or one girl, she used to just do makeup for everybody, but that was completely, she was in psychology, but she was at MUA on the side. So
kudos to her, by the way, yeah.
Listen, I tell her all the time, I look beat.
So you said you made an effort for us today, yeah?
Oh no, I wish I called her today. It was all self-done.
Yeah.
But secondly, for me, it was about mental health and self-development, because I did a degree in psychology, and never did those people tell me about how to manage life in university, how to manage the disparity between coming from northwest London into the middle of this university institution where they required me to do this and act a certain way and be able to take on large amounts of information and analyze it and disseminate it in a particular way. And for a lot of people, they don't even see what happens to their mental health. So for me, definitely self-management, meditation. I could say it free, over and over and over and over. Learn how to meditate, because you're going to get the impact of everybody. So you need to learn how to be able to self-regulate yourself. And having a plan B. You need to know that just so you're doing it, it don't mean it's going to end up that way. So many people started uni and then they realised, I don't really like this degree, but you can't quit. So how can you use that in different ways? And how can you use your degree in different ways? How can you venture, learn how to use it independently, private? Because so many degrees are catered towards an industry already. So if that's already saturated, how can I make more money? So those are my 3 things before I went to uni. I'll be rich now.
Well, thank you, Subira. I'm going to move on to you, Miles. So can you give us...
I didn't finish uni. So before I went, I wish I'd known what other options were available. So going through school, I felt like there were two options: go to uni, get a trade. And I've got nothing against tradies at all. Like tradesmen, some of the most successful people that I know work in trades, run their own business, but I'm rubbish with my hands. That wasn't an option for me. Like I went to school, whenever I tried to do like woodwork at school, I'd resource and outsource all of my work to everyone else who'd finished first, and my bit that I'd made was always rubbish, like absolutely dreadful. So it wasn't an option. If I was an electrician, I would have electrocuted myself. If I was a plumber, I would have drowned, and if I was a builder, I'd fall off something and kill myself. So it wasn't going to work. So I felt I had to go to uni. It was either take a gap year and go to uni, or go straight to uni. I thought, you know, I'll just keep the ball rolling. I finished school, so I went straight to university to do business. And it just wasn't for me. I did 2 years, I tried a couple of different courses, and I just found that when I was in a lecture, it wasn't the right learning environment for me. I was zoned out, I was daydreaming, I was away with the fairies, which helps being a presenter now, because it's trying to be creative is being away with the fairies most of the time, so it works out. But yeah, so I wish that I'd known that because once I did leave, I went out and then worked. And I worked in offices, and I worked my way up, and I saw people who didn't go to uni, who are working in offices, still working up to those same places that people that get degrees can get to. And I found personally that I learned more in a week at work than I did in 2 years at uni. I learned about office politics. I learned about how to put your hand up when you've made a mistake. Because at uni, you make a mistake, you fail your test, but there's no way of fixing it, really. You have to retake the whole course, whereas when you're in work, you make a mistake, you go, right, okay, how do I fix this? I'm trying to find a way to fix this, so when I say, hey, I've made a mistake, I can be like, but I've done this to fix it. So that's the main thing, I think, before I went, that I knew there's so many other options, and uni isn't for everyone. It's a really specific way of learning that only caters to a certain
It's not for everyone.
It didn't cater to me. And a lot of people who go and then don't use their degrees but feel like they have to do it because they have to get that foot in the door, there are other ways in.
Thank you. And Amaka?
I would say, for me, try and make friends with people who are really different to you. So when I went to university, I went to a Russell Group uni that had a lot of international students, and a lot of them I thought, they're not like me, so I'm not going to hang out with them. But I kind of wish I did, because that would have really helped me in terms of my social skills. And even when I finished uni, I would have had a huge network outside of the UK, and I really didn't take that seriously. So I say, before I went to university, really think about the importance of making friends with people who are really, really different to you. And secondly, I would say, don't leave all the job searching until final year. You can start job searching from year one. And because of the work I do, I always encourage like first years, go to all the careers fairs, talk to the career service, talk to them and find out what do I need to do to get that dream job. And then by the time you're in like the third year, fourth year, you know exactly what you need to do to get into that industry and probably have a lot of experience under your belt. So I would say for me, make different kinds of friends and don't wait until final year to start job searching.
Are you talking like summer internships as well?
Yes, summer internships, industrial placements, insight weeks, spring weeks, all these things that big companies do. I wish I did that and I didn't.
I really have to second that. One of the points I was definitely, when you asked the question, was socialising. It was important to me with my mental health to create a support group. I was doing a double honours, so for me, I just felt like I was really overwhelmed all the time. And coming from where I come from, not a lot of people in my family had degrees, so I used to always lean on my dad and my auntie because they actually understood like what I went through and how the difficulties and the mindset you have to be. When you're in uni, sometimes you've got to be really selfish. Yeah. You've got to be, and that's not something that people are taught. You're not taught to evaluate yourself and let alone self-regulate how to do that. So create yourself a network in your uni. Be your friends with your lecturer. Get mentors. And one thing about young people, I always say when I went to uni and they said about mentors. By that time I already had one, but I remember in school, the mentor always went to the person with the bad breed kid. Like it was a naughty one. So for me anyway, that whole mentorship was, I don't need no one to tell me what to do. I got my mum, I got this. And then I started reading. That's another thing that uni really enforced in you. And not just the books your uni tells you to read, but I started reading like 48 Laws of Power, Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. All of these books really expanded my mind. You have to find the methods that work for you, but you also have to find them. People sometimes are waiting for people to give them to you, like you are in school. Like, oh, your teacher's gonna be like, here's your head of year. Like, oh, here's your perfect method.
And you can't do that. You literally have to go out and find it. So if you are, for example, dyslexic, there's like disability services at universities and all these other things that they're there to help you, but you literally have to go out and find it.
Nothing comes to you. That's the thing that you need to go in uni. You go to your lecture, you do your thing. It's all sort of put in place for you. Once you get out of uni and once you're actually in the workforce, nothing comes your way. You've got to go and get it. If you're just waiting for stuff to happen, it's not going to happen.
I just want to touch on what you said earlier when you said that you feel like, I don't know, you felt like you was kind of out of place, like a fish out of water within uni. What could have been done differently? Is it the learning methods? Because I guess that everyone has different ways of learning, and the way our one individual may receive information, another one may not. So how you thought you was being taught, would you say that there was a problem with the method of teaching that you was receiving, or would you say that you just didn't connect, and there was a disengagement with
It was nothing against the teachers and the lecturers. I'm sure they were doing a great job, and like I said, it's just the lecture environment didn't work for me. I'm not good at sitting and being talked at. I will just zone out. I need to be interactive and engaging, which is why I do what I do now. You know, with presenting and stuff, you're always interacting, engaging. And then when I was working as well, even in an office, everything you do, you're applying straight away. So you're not sitting there learning a load of theory, learning like a formula for statistics and thinking, how am I going to use this? And like forgetting it because I've zoned out halfway through the lecture and then cramming to study at the last minute. Like I did okay. I was lucky I did okay because it wasn't because of work ethic, I'll be honest. I wasn't great at uni because it just wasn't right for me. Once I got into work, I was like, right, okay, knuckle down, get on with it. And you get shown something, straight away you're doing it 5-10 times, and then it's ingraining into your head, and then it's there for me. That's how I learn. I learn practically. I don't learn. I know there's different styles of learning, which actually
I was about to say you're kinesthetic. That's what it is.
You learn about that at uni. They tell you about all that stuff at uni, but then they're giving you sort of one way. And yeah, you have like tutorials which are a bit more one-on-one, but there's still a classroom environment, and it's. Yeah, I don't know. I got through school, and then I guess the classroom environment didn't work for me.
Lucky enough you did.
Just about, yeah. Scraped it. So I found a course that was for 6 months back in New Zealand that got me a foot in the door. And like, I wasn't the best in the course. I was like bang average, like grades-wise. But what I did was instead of putting the work in on the grade side of things, like our tutors at the time came in and said, hey, look, your marks don't matter as much as actually getting in the studio and practicing and getting into the industry and trying to do. So I was like, right, cool. I'm not going to worry about the study too much. Did my assignments the day before. You know, like I said, work ethic as a student wasn't great, but what I did was I made sure I got a job in the industry, driving cars, just getting in front of everyone. I went up and did work experience up at the big stations just to get myself in there. And at the end, even though I was average for grades, I got the best internship because I'd been in front of them and I'd been doing the little bits and doing the right things. I worked smart and focused my energy into the right area, and that got me where I needed to be. And now I feel like I've done my study. Like the classroom environment wasn't for me. It just wasn't. I'm a worker, and that is one thing you can do. If you're umming and ahhing about going to uni, maybe you don't know what you want to do, maybe try and see if there's any like 1 day work experience, 1 week work experience in the industry you want to go into. Go and check it out.
So being proactive, and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, and knowing how to apply those to career environments. Is that what you're basically saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I knew I was good at working hard, and I can chat. So I got in
the
there.
The gift of the gab, you know.
Yeah, I worked hard. The first day I went in, I chatted too much, and they weren't so impressed. So I made sure that the next time I went in, toned it back a little bit, chatted a bit less, asked the right questions, but did the work ethic, and then they sort of thought, oh, actually, this kid maybe has got some potential, and then I managed to get the role, and it sort of went up from there, which was great.
Would you say it's mandatory, essential, or even necessary obtaining a university qualification or degree when it comes to obtaining or achieving your career goals?
It depends on what kind of role you're going into. I feel like, if you're going into something like medicine, I think it's really important to have that degree. But there are some industry that you're going to, it doesn't really matter. And for me, I recruit loads of people into grad schemes, and most of the times we don't actually look at the grade at all. We're looking at, have you studied and do you have some sort of work experience or some sort of passion for the industry? We rarely look at the grades. A lot of big employers are actually removing grade boundaries. So sometimes it's really not important what you've got, as long as you can demonstrate your passion and you can show some sort of like work experience and like leadership capabilities. That's really it. So I think it's changing a lot these days. I don't know what you guys think about that. I've
gone to grad interviews. When I first came back to England and I was starting out in radio, I thought, I'll go and see if I can do some sales maybe. I ended up deciding not to, but I got through a graduate scheme, even though I'm not a graduate. I got in the door, and every job interview that I went for, they asked me back for another one. They didn't mind, and I opened it was like group interviews, and I opened with, I don't have a degree, so I must be the dumb one in the room, and stuff like that. And it was just, learning how to. It's also learning how to work a job interview. It's reading the room and knowing what they want, not coming in too hot, not over. You want to come across confident but not cocky, all of that sort of stuff. And I just blagged it and fluked it. But I got through to the next round. I decided I wanted to keep doing what my passion was. I wasn't ready to go and do sales yet. I felt like it wouldn't work for me while chasing radio at the time. But you definitely don't have to have a degree. It's a foot in the door. A degree is unless you're like you said, a doctor. Like, I don't want to be going in for surgery. Be like, hey, how long have you been doing this? So I just finished school last week. This is my work experience, and they thought they'd give me a go. I'd be like, okay, you can put that knife down. I'm going to go back to the bed and wait for the doctor to be ready. For like a business degree, what is a business degree? It's so vague. Actually, Alan Sugar, great example. Finished school at 16, just sold stuff out the back of his car, built an empire.
So do you think a business degree is not specific enough? It's not,
I'll agree with that. Just like, I don't have a business degree, but so many in school, so many of my friends that did business or business admin or business management, they all had that eagerness to go and start their own business and to do it, and then they came out their degree and they were completely confused. It was like, that didn't help me in any way, shape or somewhat form. I agree. I think degrees are selective, and they were always an elitist. Is like, okay, this is what you need to get a degree. We have to look at these institutions are businesses, and so they're going to make a degree. The other day I saw a hairdressing degree. Why do you need a degree in hairdressing? Why are you going to get 27 grand debt when you can just go out and open people on Instagram doing hairdressing and I'm winning? And you're going to spend 3 years in uni. I'm sure that there's specialist courses, and I think that's another thing. You also have to remember that when we are in a business structure, so people are going to push you into what formulates for our structure, like what formulates for our institution. Like, nowadays, you also have to understand that not all university is the same. She was lucky to go to a Russell Group university. That means they are providing you with the best education. Not all universities can do that. So you have to be mindful of what you're choosing. I know, again, for me, it's just my family was so proud. Like, I'm the first of my mum's children to have a degree. So it was like, boom. And I know so many people carry that on, like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the first, I'm going to be that kind of stuff. But also be mindful about the aftermath, because there is life after your degree. And when those letters come and they say, oh yeah, you owe this, and you're like, oh wow, 3 years, that's what it adds up to, mad thing. Okay, you have to deal with that. No one else is going to sit back and be like, oh, well. And I was lucky enough to start my degree when it was still $3.5 grand per year.
Yeah, mine was £3,000 when I was at uni as well. But I don't know if I would have gone now when it's 9,000. I feel it's a lot to ask. But I feel that now, because it is £9,000, universities are a lot more responsible in terms of the education they're providing for people. So I think they now know they have a responsibility to have a higher level education, and that the outcomes that people get are actually like sensible, and that people are actually getting access to certain things at university that they probably didn't have before.
Yeah. I think networking can be just as important as studying and education. Networking is
So
vital.
key.
You think about the amount of people that get that end up in family businesses, or like my first office job. I got it because I had a couple of mates in the office, and they said, "Hey, a job's come up. Send me your CV, and I'll send it on to the boss." Like
Everything's what they used to call it, nepotism. It's about who you know, and that's what university really used to be. Like, everyone who is famous now, and you talk to them, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I went uni with him," or especially that in America, you hear those stories like, "Oh, you went uni with him."
It's important to make friends with people who are different to you, because I just thought, oh, let me stick with everyone who I know or who looks like me, and then when I left uni I was like, oh damn, why didn't I hang out more with that person? And when you see them on LinkedIn and see what they're doing,
So diversity is definitely
so
important.
important.
Well, just generally be nice to everyone,
Yeah.
have a good attitude with everyone, and then you never know where they're going to end up. And if you were nice, and even if you only met a couple of times, you might bump into them. You might be on hard times, you might be struggling, you might bump into them, they're really successful, and they might be like, I remember you were a really cool guy, you were really nice to me, like we got on that, we only met a few times, but I got a good vibe off you, I liked you. Hey, we've got something going on at work, do you fancy coming down and having a look, see what you think? You never know, it's just a general rule in life, just be nice. Just be nice to people, engage in conversation with people, be interested in what people are up to. You never know where they're going to end up and when they might be able to help you out.
And avoid getting lost in the sauce. University has a lot of sauce. Like, first year's first year. I always say to like my young people, enjoy uni in it, because by the third year you realize I am never going to get a 6-week break again unless I go into teaching. So I always say enjoy those moments in it, but also that's why I said budgeting is so important, because you see when you get that loan and it drops, you forget all responsibility. And you're like, oh, let me put that holiday. Everyone's going to Ibiza.
Getting onto that though, sorry to cut you, getting onto that. So student loans. Okay, so do you think the degree is worth the debt that you accumulate? That's what I'm getting to. Do you actually?
It depends on the degree and your experience out of university, so I think everyone's different.
I wouldn't regret mine. But yet again, I'm one of the $3,000 a term students. So for me, what I carry is a lot less than what people now. So for me, and again, I knew what I wanted to utilize my degree for. I knew that, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And in any way, shape or form, if I privatize it or any of that, I knew that by second year. I was like, I have to, because I don't know many psychologists other than Oprah who are up. So I was like, okay, we're going to have to find a way to create more money. But I don't think a lot of unis, maybe now, but we're really preparing people for that. It's depending on your degree. Like, there was so many, like UEL was a sports science degree. They had so many young men and young women. I was just ready, okay, I'm going to sports, I'm going to this. And they ain't in sports.
I think if you know what you want to do going into uni, it's really worth going and doing. If you're not sure and you're just going to uni because you think it's the right thing to do, I really recommend taking a gap year after school. Travel if you can, maybe work for a bit in a pub, save up, travel, go to work, try a few different things. Just do something for a year, maybe 2, maybe 3. Uni's not going anywhere. Like, it's going to still be there. You've got time. Like, so many people think, oh, there's a rush to start my career, like get into life. No, there's not. Like, so many, like some people I know, they change careers at 40, 50. They don't really know what they want to do, and there is no rush. When you're 18, some people do have responsibilities, I know, but the majority of people, you know, you don't have kids, you don't have a wife, you don't have to worry about those extra responsibilities. While you've not got that, explore, create a rounded person who's gone and done a loads of different things, and then maybe you'll be like, actually not, this is what I want to do now, like I did with the radio, and I went and found a little course I could do. But maybe you'd be like, right, you know what, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a doctor, or I want to go and do psychology, I want to go do this, I want to go do that, and then you think, right, well, there's a university degree that's going to lead me straight into that, and then you'd be like, brilliant. But if you just sort of go because you're like, everyone's going to uni, I'm going to go do business because you can get in, can't you? It's how it works. You're going to end up with a big debt. And remember, it's not free money when it comes in from the government. A lot of people think, oh, look at all this free money coming in. That money's hanging over your head when you want to get a mortgage when you're older. All of these other things, you've got that loan that is still there. It's always going to be there until you pay it off.
I know we all see them coming out of the the woodwork, student loan drop. It might be April, it might be you got the key times of the year that it drops in it. So everybody's gonna be like rich for maybe a couple weekends, maybe 2 weekends, 3 weekends. Then they're balling and begging for the rest of the month. So it's kind of like
3 months. It's only quarterly to get paid.
You see the big top man bags on the Instagram being like, student loans drop now. It's just like, oh, good one, mate. Tins of beans for the rest of the semester then.
Okay, so I see what you're saying. So you're saying basically test the waters before you actually know what you want to do, because at a young age you're saying that you need more experience and more time to kind of grasp it. I wouldn't say that's everyone's sort of like take on things. I wouldn't say that. So.
And that's the thing. You and your best friend ain't the same. You and your mum ain't the same. Everyone is genetically different. So how you react to things is genetically different. How behaviorally different. You have to understand yourself, know your triggers, know all of these things. Some people, they found themselves in uni. I found myself in uni. I was able to grow and do, but other people, they lost themselves in uni, and it's a really nasty disparity between the fact that, because it can really make you and break you. But if you're in uni, no matter what, you're accumulating that debt. So I know so many people who crashed out and then now still have the same debt as me and don't have the same opportunities. They didn't have that, and that's really sad, because at least now I can be like, oh, okay, I can use my degree to a point. Imagine having that £15,000 and then no degree.
I wouldn't want people to feel put off university though because of debt, because yes, you are in debt, but most times you don't really notice the repayments. If you're earning over a certain amount, then most times you'll be like, okay, yes, it's coming out of your salary. You wish you had that, 200, 300 left. But I don't feel it's that, yes, it's debt, but I don't think it's crazy debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt. And I think university debt is good debt. Yeah. So I wouldn't want anyone to feel like, oh my gosh, because of that, I'm not going to university.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's not like you've got a gambling addiction. You've taken out a loan to get that. It's a worthwhile debt if you use it right.
Because it's a real when you finish uni, it's like you're adult straight away.
That's it.
But at the same time, talking about halls, it is like a bridge to growing up, which is quite cool. Like, it's moving out of home, you got that little bit of independence, you can go out, all of a sudden, I've got my lectures at 9 o'clock, but I'm out till 4 o'clock in the morning, I can do that if I want. But then you learn, maybe I won't do that when I'm at work, because that sucked the next day. But it's sort of like, it's fine, and it's like, for social situations, uni can be really good. It can be good, it can be bad, because you can still get some of the stuff you got at school, like bullying still happens, all of that. It's not as much as I'd love to say there aren't bullies out there, people are going to treat everyone nicely. Like I said, be nice to everyone. It's not always going to happen. Absolutely. But it is a step from being at home, especially if you do go into halls, being at home to then, being completely independent and living out. Sometimes you can get catered halls. You want to live away, but you don't want to cook. That's what I did. I couldn't cook anything when I went to uni. So I went to a catered halls where I just had to go in and say, right, there's my plate. Fill it up. Yeah, wasn't too bad.
That didn't exist at my uni.
Didn't it? Oh, it was great. It was so good. I just, I got fed.
Listen, this is all news to me, This is all news to me.
Interpersonal skills, yeah, because even when we stayed in dorms, that's where you you see with office politics, that's you learn that in learning in halls. You're like, oh no, you're nasty, we don't eat from the same plate. All of those things happen. So I think like I said, you can really grow. It just depends on what your goal is from uni. I think that's why I said be mindful of the source, car. No matter what, if you're going to uni, your goal is a degree. So I think some people get in there and they forget that your goal is a degree. And that's where you'll get distracted, and that's the point where, is it worth it? Is that where you went? Because guess what? You can go to a job, get paid, and get the same set distractions, but it's making you money rather than costing you money. So apprenticeships are really good. Loads of big...
So would you guys say that you're an advocate for internships and apprenticeships? Instead of the traditional university route?
Ooh, I wouldn't say instead of.
No.
I just think it's a good another option. Sorry. I just think it's another good option for young people who are considering, what are my steps in terms of getting into my career? What do I want to do? Apprenticeships are amazing. I think they're a really good option for people who do not want to go to university. Yeah. They can work, and they're getting paid, and they're also getting a qualification on the side. So I feel that's a perfect option for some people.
But the key, I think one of the differences is if you do take an apprenticeship, work hard.
Yeah.
Don't treat it like university in terms of like, oh, I'm going to go out every night. Think of it like an audition.
Yeah.
Think of it like, at the end of an apprenticeship, nothing's guaranteed. You can't just think, oh, if I turn up at 9 and I leave at 5 and I just, go through the day and do what I'm told, sort of, you're going to definitely get a job at the end. If you're going to do it, maybe turn up early, finish late. Sometimes they might let you leave early if they can see you're doing extra little bits. Make sure you get everything done. Make sure if you finish a task, don't just sit back and wait for the next task to come. Go and ask for something to do and say yes to everything.
So initiative's important and just willing to go above and beyond.
Yeah.
Good stuff. And just one more thing before I get your top 3 tips, because I'm sure everyone's waiting to hear them. What advice would you give to someone that's willing to follow in your footsteps currently? Because I know Subira, you've got your business and everything that you're running at the moment, and you didn't really felt like your university degree contributed to that. And
Oh, it did. I just feel like most people wouldn't use my degree the way I'm using it.
okay, then so
So, for example, I did psychology and criminology and a postgrad of occupational psychology. So, most people would just stick to basic behavioural work because that's what my degree tells me I should do. I should stay social services if I am going to. Or even with occupational psychology, that means I'm stuck in the city. That means I'm helping out big businesses, big brands. I didn't want to do it like that. I wanted to help my community. I wanted to help London. I wanted to make sure that people know that I took my education and I'm using it this way. So that's where I would say be mindful about using it how you want to use it. Because if you wanted to take business management, and then that's one quick way to consultancy, and you can do that. As soon as you turn to a certain, but you need to be able to formulate how you're going to use that in that sense. So my degree did help me, but I know, and don't try to jump on it now, car people want to hear what I did. Yeah. Actually, yeah, go on then, I'm already a boss. But use your degree however you wish to use it.
brilliant advice, by the way. So Miles, what advice would you have to give to someone that's willing to follow in your footsteps?
I touched on it before, saying yes to opportunities. So when I started out I was an intern for 6 months, and during that time, I said yes to everything. Treat yourself with respect, of course. Like, you want to have your opinion out there. Like, if some content's happening that you don't necessarily agree with, just be like, there's a way of saying it. Don't say that's rubbish. You'd be like, I'm not sure I agree with that, or something like that. But say you normally work on one show and they just say, hey, someone's sick on a different show today. Do you mind coming and helping? Yes.
Oh, so nothing like, Miles, go clean the toilet. No.
Maybe not. They wouldn't normally ask that if you're producing the show.
I'm just saying you said anything.
Well, okay,
you said anything.
Well, if they ask, if it's your first day and they say, hey, can you go clean the toilet? Sometimes it's just say, yeah, I'll do it this one time, but I'm not doing it again. But in terms of opportunities, and they say, we need some help filming. Maybe that's not what you want to do. Maybe that's not what you normally do. This is another skill to have, especially as a producer. When you're producing, if you can, so something's going wrong, with some filming or something, if you can be an extra set of hands and just be like, hey, yeah, I can hold the camera, or hey, yeah, I can help with the mics, or anything like that.
Good stuff. Thank you, Miles. And Amaka?
I would say be open to your plans changing. So when I first started uni, I thought, I'm going to go finish and go in investment banking and all that kind of stuff. And then when I finished uni, it was the credit crunch, and a lot of financial firms were kind of cutting back their numbers of grads. So I had to think, okay, what's plan B? I could have been stuck and say, no, I must by force be an investment banker, or I could have thought, what else am I good at university? And one of the courses, so I did business management, and within one of the modules was human resources. And I was like, I'm all right with that. Let's give it a go. And then that was kind of the start of my career in HR, was just starting out from graduation, working for a really small HR firm, and then moving up to where I am now. So I would say to someone, be okay with your plan changing. What you think you're going to end up doing after uni is not always that, but that's okay.
Brilliant, thank you. And finally, what are your top 3 tips? What are your top 3 tips for things you wish you knew before you went to university?
My first tip is really relax. There is no rush to make a decision. If you're not sure if you want to go to uni, you don't have to go straight away. Like I said before, you can take a gap year, chill out, you've not got the responsibilities, you can take your time. There is no rush to get your career started. You have got, you're 18 years old, 17 years old. You've got like 60 years left. There's plenty of time to sort everything out. Like, no rush. I think tip 2 would be, whatever you do decide to do, work hard and make sure you take the opportunity. If you go to uni, don't just treat it as 3 years of partying. Make sure you get your grade right, because you are going to get this loan and you're going to get this debt. You want to be able to come out at the end of that and say, hey, this is my degree. I got a first, I got a 2-1, whatever you got. I got this because I worked hard for it, and my tutors can be references because they know how hard I worked to then get a job at the end of it. And then when you get in that job as well, work hard, work your way up, make sure you're there, make sure you put the hours in, make sure you stay humble as well, and don't think you've made it ever. Always start to progress. And number 3 is be nice to everyone. You never know who's going to end up where. You never know who's going to be your boss. Even if you're like doing tutoring in year 3 at uni of the first year students, just because you're third year in their first year doesn't mean that they're not going to fast track all the way up the food chain. You're going to one day be knocking on their door saying, hey, yeah, can I have a job, please? So be nice. Be nice. Show the right attitude. Be nice to people. You never know when they'll come back to help you out.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Mine will be number 3, finances. Learn how to do basic finances. Go on Google, just learn what income, outgoings, and learn how to balance those. 2 is self-management. Understand yourself. Know your triggers. Know who you are. Know when you're low. Know when you're high, because both of those lead to things like emotional spending and can really affect you as an adult. All adults should know themselves. So you should know what makes you mad, what makes you sad. When you're going into uni, that was really important. So you have to learn how to self-manage. And my last one is always going to be your plan B. Know exactly what you want. Focus on plan A, but always have a plan B. So, yeah, that's mine.
Thank you.
I would say with mine, so I really love like to be developed and stuff, and I feel at uni, always ask for feedback. People always forget to do that. Your tutors, thank you. They're there for a reason. They're paid there to help you progress. And if you feel like, okay, I've got this grade and, I don't know what, you're just giving me like a 3rd or something, ask for feedback and think, how can I improve this coursework? Because if you don't ask for feedback, you're never going to be able to progress. So I always say, whatever you do, ask for feedback. How can I do better? How can I do well in this degree? The next thing I would say is quite similar to Miles. Be friends, be kind, and be friends with people from everywhere, because you never know who you'll work with in the future. And just why not be friends with people? University is a really social like experience. So make friends. And last, this might be quite controversial, but I always say if you're from London, do not go to a London university. Go elsewhere, because the rest of this country is so beautiful. I mean, I love London, I'm a city girl, but I regret going to university in London. I wish I had the experience away from London and I saw more amazing parts of the UK. So if you can and you're from London, please go far away. You'll really, really enjoy it. So that's mine.
Okay, thank you guys for your top 3 tips. Remind everybody about the platforms that you're currently on as well.
So you can find me on Instagram and Twitter at AmakaU247. I'm also on LinkedIn. I really love helping people, giving them advice in terms of like what do I do with my career and all that kind of stuff. So if you have any questions, find me at Amaka Uche on LinkedIn. I'm also have my own podcast, which is on Apple and Spotify, and just search My Dream, My Reality as well. That's it.
Thank you. Miles.
Well, you can find me on Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, at Miles Blumsom on Instagram and Twitter, and at Miles Blumsom 93 on Facebook. Literally, if you do want advice, I love helping people out when it comes to career advice and stuff, especially in the entertainment industry. I don't know about everything, but if you feel free to drop me a line, and I will help where I can. I'm one of those people who does look at the message requests a bit. Might get a follow back if you're really nice. But no, please do. Just if you do want some help, get in touch. I love helping.
Thank you.
You can find me via London City Nexus on Instagram and London C Nexus on Twitter. And you can find our Instagram pages on the London City Nexus, but you can also find London Cameron Edwards on Facebook. DM us, message us. You can also come onto my website, www.lcn.london, and you can find and ask any of our services. We have a number of influencers that can also help you. We have a community youth project where we have a number of different community partners throughout London. So if you have any aspects from young people to elderly people, we have loads of projects on there which support. So feel free, drop me a DM and I'll be there.
Thank you. Absolutely amazing advice today, panelists. Thank you all for coming down. We really appreciate you. We've now come to the end of our episode. Thank you for watching. Follow us at The Panel UK and visit thepanelshow.co.uk.